What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be showing you Tyler's Van Helsing deck that he played for this week's Patreon Picks Campus Championship. If you like this, make sure you go and you check out all the matches Van Helsing got to play in. Maybe think about subscribing out on Patreon to see some more content about Van Helsing and others. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the profile. All right, so if you haven't seen one of my deck profiles before, basically what I'm going to be doing is, as opposed to telling you exactly what the cards do or what's written on their face, I'm going to be telling you more about how the deck wants to operate, the cool combos inside of the deck. And so what does this Van Helsing deck want to do? This Van Helsing deck is actually one of the coolest all decks that I've seen in a while. It wants to do one thing, and that's draw cards, have advantage, as well as use those extra resources, extra cards in order to give the attacks that I'm playing progressively more damage per card I have in my card pool. There's a lot of really cool, interesting draws, but it's not trying to be ultra greedy under the order symbol and draw 7 off of a prism. I'm playing under the all symbol, and we're taking it a little slower, a little more consistent. So with that said, let's jump into it. The first attack that we're playing is incredible. It is 3 Ice Dragon Seiryu. This card says Van Helsing commits to draw 3 cards, and then the 3 cards that I do happen to stun, they're going to be frozen. So essentially my opponent skips a turn. Depending on how early this is in the game, they essentially just restart. This card is not a weapon, so it does not give the damage bonus off of the discard, but it can receive the damage bonus, which is important. Up next, the other big card that we're planning to draw is 3 Launching Whip Strike. This card says Deadlock Stun 3, but it is Stun 3 nonetheless. So Van Helsing, even if my opponent is not in Deadlock, still recognizes that the card has Stun 3, so I can commit and draw 3 cards. So here are 6 cards in my deck that just make my character draw 3. This card is not fantastic. The main reason that this card is in here is for the draw 3, but 5 low, 4 after I discard a card, 5 is still decent enough stats off of the draw 3, as well as it gets an additional stun 2, and if it deals damage, I'm going to gain 2 vitality. It's just a decent attack all around. And then lastly, the other big draw card, the only other stun attack inside of our deck is for Stakeout. This card says either draw 2 or draw 4 if I have a momentum, stun 2 or stun 4, as well as it does 3 damage or 5 damage or 7 damage, depending on if they block it or not. Just really, really good utility all around. Just this card is a terror all by itself, and it's even stronger inside of Van Helsing. On to the bread and butter cards. These are the cards that you only get to draw off of Van Helsing once. And so Tyler's mentality here was, I'm going to have plenty of cards that do draw, but the rest of the cards are just going to be, decent playable attacks. And so like always, we are playing 4 Shadow Slicer. This card is really good at opening up my opponent after I've stunned out their board, after I've drawn a bunch of cards. I'm going to be playing Shadow Slicers, and if I have any cards inside of my card pool, they're just going to be getting extra damage off of Van Helsing, as well as sometimes one of the downsides of Shadow Slicer is what happens when you draw 2 of them. Well, Van Helsing fixes that problem by discarding one of them for a little extra damage. The next bread and butter attack we're playing is 3 Nuxiang style Scarlet Meteor. After I've opened them up with 4 Shadow Slicers with a little extra damage on them, I'm going to drop the Nuxiang style on probably like a 7 difficulty. Totally fine because I've been playing all these Shadow Slicers on 5s, and this is going to be the thing that ends the game. As well as that Breaker 2 is not too shabby. And then lastly, we're playing Triple Syndicate Slice. Really good at Desperation. I want to be at Desperation in order to make my Shadow Slices work, as well as if it's blocked, I'll draw a card, so it's a little more extra draw, as well as some momentum generation for my Scarlet, and a really solid 1 mid block. On to the assets and actions. The first asset I want to talk about is Double Fiddlesticks. This card is insane in Van Helsing because of the fact that it says enhance once per turn, add 1 card from my momentum to the top of my deck. I can take and hit you with my Ice Dragon. It will go to my momentum, and then after my next turn, we are resolving, I will enhance on Fiddlesticks to add it to the top of my deck, and then commit Van Helsing and draw X amount of cards. I'm going to be drawing my Ice Dragon back, and so I'll play Ice Dragon, hit you with it, and then do the whole thing over and over again. And so here's a quick little 2-card combo in order to, I guess 3 cards because you have to have the attack that has stun. A quick little 3-card combo that lets me just forever play a singular attack. Up next, we're also playing double Black Bear Diner. Black Bear Diner is really cool because it lets us reuse one of our committed foundations. We have plenty of abilities that want to commit for a cost. Our Black Bear Diner, it will leave the staging area and then come back in readied. So commit, leave, comes back in ready. And it counts for having a new card of it been played. And then my last asset is one Psychic Spirit Glass. Van Helsing hits a lot of damage, and let's say that my opponent has a really solid block inside of their hand. With Van Helsing being able to change the zone of my attacks, which is something I have not mentioned, it hasn't been super important until right now. Form remove, I name a card, and this card has a bit of an errata. I name a card, my opponent can't play abilities on the named card for the rest of the turn. Or my opponent can't play the card for the rest of the turn. And so if they've got a really solid block, if they've got a one good high block and the rest mid blocks, and I know I'm throwing nothing but at high attacks, I will Psychic Spirit Glass, name the high block, and then now at least everything's going to be doing partial damage. Or maybe they have all high blocks. Well, I now know that I can take in, use Van Helsing and turn them all to lows. Now you can't block anything at all. This is just a Knowledge's Power card. And then my last bonus card, we're playing Quadruple Let's Cut Loose. This card just makes sure that I get to block extra stuff, as well as it adds up weapon foundations. And weapon foundations, as you will see, definitely count towards Van Helsing's damage. So let's just jump into it. We're playing Triple Coiling Contempt. This card is a very much an aggro card for one reason. It has weapon in it, and so it gets plus damage off of Van Helsing. She says +1 for each weapon card in my card pool. As well as commit, if the top card of my deck has the weapon or ranged keyword, it gets +3 or -2 damage. Up next, we're playing 4 Stolen Sword. This card says that after I've drawn a bunch off of my Van Helsing, I get to play additional foundations by revealing a weapon, and then I'll play it and build it down. I will note, it is important that you know that if you block with a weapon foundation after using the ability on Stolen Sword, the card that you blocked with is not considered a weapon foundation, it is considered a weapon block. This card does not say foundation card. Yeah, it says not, excuse me, it says the next time you play a weapon foundation, not the next time you play a weapon card. There is a big difference in how the game mechanics want to resolve foundation versus card. Up next, we're playing 3 of the original Mecha Ninja. This card is crazy. Response card pool. After I play I get +2 to the next check to play a weapon. My apologies. As well as a little extra speed, a little extra damage depending on the zone of my attack, which I can change with Van Helsing. We're playing Triple English Aristocrat. If my cards have 2 or less keywords, they're just going to get real fast. I think this doesn't work on Ice Dragon, and I don't think this works on the other draw 3. It also has a Deadlock weapon reversal, and it doesn't work on Nuseong Meteor Style, but it does work on Stakeout and the other 2 attacks that we play. So just, hey, make sure that it gets a bunch of damage, gets a bunch of speed, we get there. We're playing double True Identity as our first flow card. This says form commit all my checks to play attacks, get +1. This is really good to flash in and out with Black Bear Diner. And what's better than 1 True Identity? Well, how about a second True Identity on the card Summer Vacation? This says enhance commit, choose one of my cards in my card pool. It doesn't count towards progressive, and once again I can flash it out with Black Bear Diner and slash, or I can build either of these 2 cards in with Nuseong Style and get the same effect. Up next, we're playing double Not Over Till You Die, kind of in the same vein as Black Bear Diner. I can flip Not Over Till You Die and then draw it up with Van Helsing. Just really solid stuff. Also, flashing this out with Black Bear Diner is really good. We're playing triple Never a Day Without Training as another flow card. We can do the same play with Not Over Till You Die, but also we play a ton of assets, and it's really easy to find them whenever we're drawing 3 additional cards on our turn. And so just picking up 3 extra cards is pretty solid. And then lastly, 1 A Son's Love. First form commit, draw a card. If my opponent needs that extra momentum, I'll draw an extra card. And not to mention all the other draw. There's almost no reason. There's almost no reason to not play A Son's Love. Up next, we're playing triple Sense of Morals. This card doesn't count towards progressive, so it feels really good whenever you draw extra copies off of Van Helsing, as well as it helps make checks in order to get Shadow Slicers into our discard pile. We're playing 1 Wandering Pirate as our next flow card. After it's committed, ready another foundation. This would be really cool to ready one of those Summer Vacations or True Identities. We're playing Triple Profane Sanctuary as our last flow card. This flows with two reasons. Number one, it stops Breaker from happening, and so I can play bigger, longer turns. I've drawn all these cards. I very much would like to play them, as well as it makes us both discard the top two cards of our deck, and so it makes our Shadow Slicers play sooner, a little quicker. It makes our Shadow Slicers play alive a little quicker. On to the defense, we're playing Triple Feifei. Just flip, make sure I can block this cool thing. It's also a really good card to flash out with Black Bear Diner. I can, -3 speed. Flash with Black Bear Diner. Oh, the next one, -3 speed. On to the disruption cards. I guess this is a flow card. My apologies. We're playing Triple Orphan Alchemist. This makes sure that my Shadow Slicers plays exist under the All in the Evil symbol. You definitely have to be playing this. Probably side the fourth one. After they try to remove my Shadow Slicers from the discard pile, I will stop them and draw a card. And then my last card, the disruption card, is 3 Unlikely Romance. So this is disruption as well as a bit of flow. After my opponent is attempting to remove one of my foundations, I can cancel it, playable while committed, as well as enhance flip. This deck gets +1 to its stun rating. So giving my Ice Dragon +1 to its stun rating is incredibly strong. Not only do I stun and freeze more cards, but I'm also drawing more cards off of Van Helsing, to the point where I played against a Jet inside of the Campus Championship, and he increased his stun rating of a stun 3 card by 2. I gave it an additional stun 1, and I drew 6 cards off of Van Helsing, because she does say this stun attack, not your stun attack. And there you have it, Tyler's Van Helsing deck. I liked this deck a ton. I liked all the synergy. I liked all the cool things that were happening on my turn as I got to play it out. Drawing cards is really fun, and the All symbol's really good at that. So, if you liked that, make sure you check out the matches in the profiles, like I said at the top of the video. Go out to twitch.tv/TCGUniversity, catch all these matches live, and if you feel like it, support us out on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGUniversity. Chat with us about your cool Van Helsing decks. I'm sure Tyler would love it. That's his favorite character from the new DLC stuff. So, from all of us here at TCG University, thank you very much for watching, and stay learned.